How would you like to discover the longevity formula with Ayurveda? Dr. John Duyar will tell us how to do it. And what's so special about Dr. John is that he is a globally recognized Ayurvedic and sports medicine educator with 40 years of experience. And he's the host of the Ayurveda Meets Modern Science podcast and author of 7 health books, including bestsellers like Eat Wheat and The 3-Season Diet. So millions of people worldwide, I'm sure, are interested in the longevity formula because everyone wants to live longer, but not just to live longer, but to also feel great as they are living longer. It's not just like to be this vegetable forever. So tell us more about how it's possible to do it.
Heal Podcast with Lily Patrascu shares longevity and anti-aging techniques to stay young forever, increase energy, overcome addiction, and live your longest, best life ever. Shared by world's most innovative, alternative, and traditional health, thought leaders, healers, and doctors. Discover quantum healing strategies to heal your mind, body, and soul.
Well, I think that what I kind of bring to the table is a deep dive into the ancient medical wisdom and finding modern science to back it up. So I think when you look at science alone, you can prove really whatever you want. You can prove that coffee is good and coffee is bad. You can call wheat's good, wheat's bad, soy is good. You never really know because you can find studies on both sides of pretty much any aisle. So it's very confusing. But when you have something that's been around for thousands and thousands of years and still here today, like for example, Ayurvedic medicine is the traditional system of medicine in India. It started like 5,000 years ago. And today, the largest medical organization in the world is the All Indian Ayurvedic Congress, which means that it's still here after thousands of years, which means it probably works. And what I bring to the table is I put all the modern science to back it up. And they had one branch of their whole system specifically related to longevity. And that longevity system is called Rasayana. And Rasa means lymph, and Ayana means the study of. So it was really the study of your lymphatic system. Now, in Western medicine, you know, we only think about the lymph when you get cancer or something like that. They take out lymph nodes. But the lymphatic system is the system that takes the trash out of every cell of your body. It carries your immune system and delivers fat as baseline energy to every cell of your body. So if you don't have energy, if your immune system's compromised, or you have toxicity issues where you're swelling, holding on to water, rings get tight, rashes on your fingers or your face, poor complexion, tired, lethargic, headaches, bloat around your belly or your hips. This is all lymphatic congestion. So it just makes a lot of logical sense that a whole system was based on evaluating the drainage system, how you get rid of the trash first before you just treat the blood. What we do in the Western is we just look at the blood, analyze the blood, and go, oh, that's we have to fix the blood. But if the body can't take its trash out, it's like, you clamp a hose, things are gonna back up into the blood. So instead of always just fixing and only focusing on the blood, they looked and evaluated how well the body's moving the trash out. And that means your skin, your lymph, your intestinal detoxification. And that's something that most of us overlook. So when you have really good lymphatic flow, your immune system's healthy, you're gonna live longer. You're gonna get rid of the trash better, you're gonna live longer. And of course, you have fats being delivered to your cells for baseline energy, which means you're gonna have vitality as you age. And that's just like the tip of the iceberg of the longevity puzzle.
Thank you. Tell us more about the lymphatic flow and how can someone make the lymphatic flow best possible so that we can be living longer and feel great in the process, like you said. Like, for example, for me, I've suffered from acne from like 13 years old, and I still haven't managed to overcome that. And I'm always bloated as well, but because I drink a lot of sparkling water. So give us some examples of what an entrepreneur could do to make sure that the lymphatic system is working perfectly so that we can live longer.
I wrote an interesting article years ago. It's on my website. All my articles are free at lifespa.com. And the article is called, It May Not Be Hormonal. And many women come with acne and other hormonal PMS-like symptoms. And what I started evaluating, realizing that many of those symptoms were very lymphatic-esque. And I started treating the lymphatic system, helping the lymphatic system drain. And in a significant number of cases, many of the PMS symptoms, like their acne, would disappear. So after years of doing that in clinical practice, I finally wrote an article about it called "It May Not Be Hormonal." So many of your symptoms may be a lymphatic congestion issue. And there's many things you can do for that. I mean, there's basic things like exercise and movement works great. We act, talk a lot. My first book, Body, Mind, and Sport, we did research on nose breathing versus mouth breathing exercise. When you breathe through your nose, you activate your diaphragm more efficiently. The diaphragm, very few people know this, is the number one pump for your lymphatic system. And in a recent study with elite athletes, 91% of them did not have a diaphragm relaxing and contracting fully, which means most of us have poor breathing patterns, but more importantly, compromised diaphragmatic function, and therefore compromised lymph. And specifically, that diaphragm, when you breathe properly, pumps the lymph out of your belly, which that's the extra weight around your belly and your hips, and the brain lymphatic and glymphatic systems are pumped by your diaphragm, and your brain dumps trash out of your head to the tune of 3 pounds of plaque and toxins per year. And if you're not breathing properly, which most of us don't, right off the bat, you're going to have poor lymphatic function. Hydration, drinking plenty of water, and yes, even including some salt or some electrolytes for better hydration. Also, foods that are powerful lymphatic movers, or anything that would take your white shirt and stain it red, black, or blue, like a blueberry, or blackberry, raspberry, strawberry, beets, pomegranates, they all have anthocyanins, which are going to help move. They work through your lymphatic system and pump it out. There's herbs that are powerful lymphatic movers. One herb that we use in Ayurvedic medicine called mangista is a powerful lymphatic mover. The peel of oranges, they found study after study showing that the orange has got lots of vitamin C, but the peel is where all the bioflavonoids are. So I know it sounds gross, but if you take an orange, a navel orange, cut it up, and you have the orange and the pith and the peel and eat that, it's really not that bad. And you're getting so many more of these bioflavonoids, which have been shown in study after study to protect you or even reverse cancer. Like prostate cancer and others. So there's so much research on how we can keep our lymphatic system moving. And then, of course, the most important thing is what caused the lymph to get congested in the first place? How do you go upstream to the original cause of your lymphatic congestion? And you're looking smack dab at the ability for you to digest your food well. And what we have in our culture today is a bubble wrapping culture of their diet. So if we don't feel good eating wheat, I stop eating it. Don't feel good eating beans or lectins or nightshades or tomatoes or zucchinis or goitrogens or oxalates, we take it out of the diet. Well, those foods have been around for millions of years, and humans, ancient, early hominoids, they found gluten in the teeth of ancient humans, not Homo sapiens, but hominids, about 3.5 million years ago. So those foods that were harder for us to digest, they create a little bit of hormesis, irritation of the lining of the gut. And that is the reason why we have gut immunity. We get an immune response when the system's irritated just a little, right? And that's 70% of your immune response. And for most of us, we get a little irritation, we get a little bloating, whatever, we stop eating it, instead of fixing the actual digestive problem. And that's really one of the major problems in our culture today, because that gut immunity, if that gets compromised, you're in big trouble. There were studies done on people who ate wheat, just an example, and people who were gluten-free but didn't have to be there, not celiac. And the people who ate wheat had 4 times less mercury in their blood than the people who were gluten-free but didn't have to be. They had significantly more killer T cells, more good bacteria, and less bad bacteria than the people who were gluten-free. Because those foods create that little bit of hormetic irritation to create an immune response. And I'll finish with one really cool study with Amish kids. Amish kids have the lowest rates of asthma on the planet for kids. And they run barefoot in the barn, and they have cows as pets, and they're breathing all this barn dust. And their genetic cousins, the Hutterites, came from the same valley in Switzerland, the same exact genetics, but when they came here, they became sterile modern farmers, stainless steel, everything. And the Amish did it the traditional way. The Hutterite kids have the highest rates of asthma on the planet. So the same exact gene pool, one has the highest rates of asthma, one the lowest rates, and they measured the dust in the barn, and they found it was the dust in the barn that the kids were breathing that created enough irritation, hormetic irritation, to create an immune response, and they have the lowest rates of asthma on the planet. So we can't bubble wrap our life. We have to give ourselves enough of those foods. And what's cool about those harder to digest foods, they don't come all at once. They come in seasons, right? The wheat comes harvested at a different season, and all these foods come in an annual nutritional cycle in a seasonal way. Nature had a plan, right? It wasn't like it was, this happened like willy-nilly. There's a very specific plan of why foods come out of the ground at different times of the year, and that's another piece of that Ayurvedic ancient wisdom puzzle.
Thank you. Tell us the impact of stress on the lymphatic system and on longevity. Because, for example, I'm noticing that when I'm incredibly stressed about something happening in my business, I'm noticing my acne flares up. I look worse. I look like 10 years older. And then what happens is that when I'm kind of like calmer and everything has sorted out, then again, I look 10 years younger. I feel great. And I'm not sure if I'll be living longer, but you can tell me what's the impact of that, of stress?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. And when you look at the thing that's compromising our longevity, you could pretty much point to something called metabolic syndrome, which is high blood pressure, high blood sugar, extra cholesterol, high triglycerides, and extra weight around your belly. And when you look at our population today, the answer to that is put them on a diabetic medication, put them on a statin for the cholesterol, Ozempic for the weight. I mean, it's just putting out the fire, but not treating the cause of the fire. And when you actually dig into the science, which I've written articles about, it's really clear that every one of those metabolic syndromes which compromise our longevity directly are caused by stress, just like you said. And when you think about it, our culture, we're going 90 miles an hour, constantly doing this, constantly driving here, constantly going here. The amount of incoming stimuli that we experience in a day compared to our ancient ancestors who were just chilling out in nature we can't even compare that. And that underlying rev of stress and incoming stimulation causes a message to the body that life's an emergency. And I'm being chased by a bear all day long. It's just always chasing me. And I'm constantly having to deal with that underlying fight or flight stress. Well, when the body's under stress, it's gonna raise blood pressure to get you up a tree faster to save your life. It's going to increase more blood sugar, put more blood sugar into the blood to help you get up that same tree. It's going to put more cholesterol into your bloodstream to make stress-fighting hormones to fight that stress. And any reserve fuel it can find, the fat, it's going to put under the mattress and store it for a rainy day. That's what the body does when it's under chronic stress, and that's the epidemic of our time. Now, when you say, okay, clear, studies are ridiculously clear that stress is the cause of all this, so how do you do it? Well, I said, why don't we just look at meditation, see if that has anything to do with all these things. Study after study, meditation lowers cholesterol, lowers blood sugar, lowers blood pressure, lowers your triglyceride levels. It's just overwhelming. Getting out into nature. We have a infrared light deficiency because all the light bulbs now are LED. There's no infrared light. There's no heat coming out of the lights anymore, which means used to be in our house, we have incandescent lights that would warm us up and we'd have infrared light, and that heals the body at a very, very deep level. Now, when you go into nature, you're in a canopy, you're under a tree or whatever, and walking through the forest. The infrared light penetrates, it bounces off the ground, bounces off the leaves, bounces off the ground, bounces off the leaves. And if you were to Google infrared light photography, you would see in a forest an explosion of infrared light. It'd be like a blasting of white light. Take that same camera and take a picture of a city. It looks exactly like a city does all day long. It's like there's no difference. There's no infrared light bouncing and exponentially, impacting the leaves, and whoever is walking in that forest is getting bombarded from top, down, side, up your sleeve, all around. You're just getting completely inundated with infrared light. And the infrared light, what it does, and this is how it fixes longevity, it activates an enzyme in your tissues called the cytochrome C oxidase enzyme that actually helps the body make energy, or ATP. Now, when you make energy, the reason why we age faster is as we get older, we don't get rid of the trash and the free radical damage from energy production. Like, big issue with nuclear energy is what do you do with the waste, right? The nuclear waste. Same thing in the body. There's waste products that are free radical and damaging to the body when you make energy. So nature said, I'm going to take the infrared light, use that same C oxidase enzyme, and make an antioxidant called melatonin, which is made from the sun, that this melatonin stays inside your cell only, and it swabs up all the free radical damage. But as we get older, we make less and less and less of that because we don't, and now with the infrared light deficiency, we're not getting it. And that melatonin, people don't know this, but that melatonin, which is made from the sun, is 90% of the melatonin in your body, but it's locked in your cell. The melatonin that gets you to go to sleep at night, that's in your brain, in your gut, and that's circulating throughout your body, but that's only 10%. And that is sort of, sun phobic. When the sun is out, that level goes down. But inside your cell, that infrared light makes that melatonin. And a powerful piece of the longevity puzzle, because that's one of the accelerants of DNA damage and aging, is not being able to take out the trash from energy production. We all hear about mitochondria, how to make more of it. That's a good piece of the puzzle, but there's a more important piece of the puzzle. How are you going to take the trash out from the free radical damage of energy production? And that's, again, getting into nature, chilling, sit on a rock and watch the river, meditate, pray, but find time in your day to turn the volume off. And breathing practices are a piece of that longevity puzzle too, and do some specific breathing techniques. There's many very simple breathing techniques people can do.
Thank you. What's the impact of sauna, using a gua sha in order to massage your face and your lymphatic system, or any other strategy that will work towards longevity?
Well, saunas are obviously great. They provide a little bit of heat stress, and that heat stress is a little bit of a hormetic impact. So again, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So you're going to get that benefit. It also creates a deep vasodilation. And that deep vasodilation creates a detoxification of what's called the skin-associated lymphatic tissue. So when you eat your food, that food, if it's not properly broken down, like wheat or dairy or nuts or seeds, hard to digest things, studies show that those proteins and the fats will, if they're not completely digested, the molecule will be too big to get into your blood. And the unbroken down gluten or whatever, or oxalates or whatever, will get into the intestinal tract, too large to go into the blood, they'll get uptaken into the garbage can, which happens to be your lymphatic system, which starts inside your intestinal tract. And that gets absorbed into the lymph, and it stores all that around your belly and your hips. That's exactly what the lymphatic system is, kind of the lion's share of it is, right around your belly. And when that gets congested, eventually it starts pushing that lymph into skin-associated lymph, your respiratory lymph, and your brain lymph. And then all of a sudden you start seeing these symptoms because I'm not getting the trash out. So that's why, I wrote an article called, the Digestive Health Quiz, where you can take a quiz and ask what part of your digestion is broken, and then give you herbs and foods and how to fix your specific weak link in your digestive system. Another article called the Lymph Quiz, where you can find out where the lymphatic system may be congested and is causing joint pain or skin rashes or breakouts or tiredness or fatigue or extra weight around your belly or headaches or brain fog. All these things are related to the relationship between your digestion and your lymph. And in Western medicine, they're in the journals, in the medical journals, there's study after study after study after study about the lymphatic system. But none of it's reached medical practice. And that's the problem. Some of these studies take 20, 30 years to reach medical practice, where the ancient wisdom of Ayurveda, they were practicing and treating these symptoms for thousands of years, and they're still doing it today. And now we have the science sort of buried in the journals that explains why and how to do that.
Thank you. Are there any benefit to using oils as part of your longevity formula? And if not, tell us more other Ayurvedic techniques for people to live longer.
Well, one oil is called ghee or clarified butter. You've all heard of that. And that's when you take, this is what they understood thousands of years ago. They took milk, right? And they know it would go bad very quickly. So they would boil it and get rid of all the milk solids. And then they would culture it, let it ferment. And they would create this process where they would purify the milk to such a way it would create something called ghee, or what scientifically is pretty much pure butyric acid. Butyric acid is the super fat that feeds your gut cells, your colon cells, heals your intestinal lining, feeds the microbiome in your gut. There's literally bugs in your gut, that one called Clostridium butyricum, that makes butyric acid. And that's so critically important for gut health. So thousands of years ago, they said, if you take this stuff, this milk, and you boil it and you culture it, you get it grass-fed, organic, and really get it clean, it's a powerful superfood. And now we have so much science about the benefit of ghee. There's one fat called C15 or pentadocanoic acid, which is a fat that is a superfood for the body that you only find really naturally occurring in any kind of quantity that would actually be medicinal in ghee. So that's one fat that's really good. But they also talk about fats, putting oil on your skin. And you have a microbiome on your skin as well. And your body, your skin makes sebum, which is the fat that feeds the microbiome on your skin. And when you put oil on your skin, proper oil, good healthy oils, cold pressed, squeezed out of the seed in a healthy way, they provide a calming of the nervous system, because all your sensory nerves, you feel them, but you put an oil on it, it just calms you down, de-stresses you. Good science behind that. It produces oxytocin, which is the longevity hormone. So when you put oil on your skin and massage yourself every day, like in the shower, not a big deal, but 5 minutes, but in a mindful way, that studies show that it produces the longevity hormone oxytocin, but it also feeds your microbiome on your skin, which keeps your skin healthy and the skin-associated lymph underneath your skin very healthy as well. So, I can go on and on and on about oils, but you're right. They're really, really important for the body, the right kind of oil.
Thank you. Tell us where entrepreneurs can connect with you.
My website is lifespot.com, and there we have a newsletter people can, sign up for and get all this. We put out 3 articles a week about ancient wisdom and modern science on all the social channels. And of course, at lifespot.com, there's 1,500 free articles with all the scientific references. Just type in your condition, your health concern, and then you can read an article for free and how to help yourself get better. And of course, I have been formulating Ayurvedic herbal formulas for 41 years now. And we have an Ayurvedic store there as well, where all those herbs are all organic and really clean Ayurvedic products, if you're interested in that as well.
Follow me for more interviews with world's most innovative health changemakers to live your healthiest life ever.